Look, man, I hate to break it to you, but you got to stop trying to have everything figured out. You're just going to become overwhelmed and worry about things that aren't even relevant to you. You know, as men, we like to have everything figured out because we want to be in control of the outcomes, but that's just not always the case. Sometimes you have to embrace the unknown. Think of like a rock climber. Do you think when a rock climber approaches the mountain that they just look up straight at the top and just know exactly what steps to take in order to get there? Absolutely not. So imagine you're that rock climber trying to get to the top. You only need to focus on one step at a time. And as you take that first step, the second step presents itself. The third step presents itself, and so on. It just keeps going as you start taking that steps. But it all stems back to you just taking that first initial step, taking that first action without trying to worry too much about the outcome. Because chances are, if you don't like the outcome, you're just going to be in the same spot. But at least you tried this time. You actually learned. So if you're trying to figure everything out from the start before you even took that first step, that is you trying to look at the top of the mountain before you even started climbing it. And look, I've been there too. I've made the mistake countless times where I try to have everything figured out. I try to have everything completely perfect before I start taking action. And the problem that this caused is that it made me feel super overwhelmed, and it made my goals seem more unattainable than it really was. So I just never ended up taking action. And I know a lot of people have that issue right now too, especially going to the gym. They think they need to have the perfect split, the perfect diet, the perfect workout program in order to get started. What you should be worried about, what you should be focused on is just getting to the gym a couple times a week. That's the first step. Maybe in your first week, the goal is to only go 3 times. Maybe in the second week, you want to go 4 times. And just slowly increase that. Then once you start going 5 to 6 times a week, depending on what your goals are, then you can start trying to optimize your workouts, trying to figure out what works better. But first, don't even worry about those things. You're going to learn with experience. And when it's time to learn those things, it'll come to you. I'm going to use a personal example that I just went through just not even too long ago. It's actually me making social media content. I would tell myself, oh, I need to get leaner before I start posting on social media. Oh, I need to get bigger before I start posting on social media. No one's going to listen to me if I don't have the craziest physique in the world. I was like, oh, I need to have the best camera, best lighting. I need to get a whole studio. I'm literally just in my room right now. I got a couple lights and a camera, but I don't need all that stuff to begin. And yeah, that stuff's going to be nice as I start walking the path and moving forward, but that's not what my first step looks like, nor my second or third. Those are maybe the first 5 to 6 steps. And I'll worry about those future problems when they come up. Because right now, I need to focus on the problems and the circumstances that I'm in right now. And this is when I realized that everything falls into place with consistent action. If you just focus on the inputs, everything else will fall into place. As long as you give every step your maximum effort, reflect on the outcome, and make adjustments accordingly, then there's no way you lose. There's no way you lose as long as you try and don't give up. The reason all of these people fail trying to accomplish their goals is because they can't accept that they're bad at something. They can't accept that. A lot of the times it's because they're not patient. They're not able to delay the gratification, which is something that took me forever to learn. But as you take more action on a consistent basis, giving it all your maximum effort, your vision will become more and more clear of what you actually want to do. Right now, I'm assuming you just have a rough image on where you want to see yourself in 5 years, but as you start taking that path, it'll become clearer and clearer. The path will illuminate as you walk it. Just take that first step, see where it takes you. If it doesn't work, at least you gave it your all. And then you're just going to be back in the same position as you were. But in this case, you actually learned. You learned that that step was not the correct step to take. So now you got to go at it from a different approach. And maybe that next approach is the correct step. The next step that does get you closer to where you want to be. So you can't have it all figured out from the start. You're just going to be wasting your time. And you don't be a perfectionist either. You're not going to be good at the start, no matter what it is. I don't care who you are. You're not going to be good at the start. But as you learn through experience, you will become better at whatever you're trying to achieve. You will get closer. And if you are afraid, which look, I've been afraid too. Fear is really just false evidence appearing real. And you have to not let that fear get to you, because it's never going to go away. I hate to break it to you, the fear is never going to go away. However, you do become braver. And really think about it. If you are scared, think about what the absolute worst case scenario could be. I'm sure you won't lose your family, lose the roof over your head, not be able to feed yourself anymore, not be able to hydrate. I'm sure those things aren't going to be put at risk. And at a fundamental level, what else do you need in life? Shelter, food, water. So as long as you're not risking those things, you're taking calculated risks that aren't going to completely ruin yourself, then I don't see why not. The first step doesn't have to be anything drastic. It could just be joining the gym. It doesn't have to be selling your house so you can start a business. I mean, maybe. I mean, maybe it is, but at the end of the day, there is no reward without any risk. Maybe what you're scared of is what people will think of you. I kind of had that too when I first started posting on social media. I thought I was going to get made fun of. I thought people were going to tell me not to do it because it's a waste of time. But once I started taking those first steps, I completely forgot about the feeling of what other people would think. Because I was so focused on my own progression, so focused on what comes next, so focused on what I can do every day to succeed and help others and inspire others and make an impact in others' lives, that I don't even have the mental capacity to care about what other people think anymore. Like, if you are scared what people think, I promise you, they don't pay as much attention to you as you think they do. Because at the end of the day, who really gives a fuck? And if you do, why? Everyone dies. I mean, I hate to break it to you, but everyone dies one day. And you don't want to live your life because you're afraid of what other people are going to think of you. You're going to live in regret. So just take that first step. Just take that risk, because I promise you don't have as much to lose as you really think. You don't want to be looking back on life and think, what if?